Hey, how you going, everyone? It's BJ on Game Day. You got Brent, and this week you got Bogan. Joshy, uh, I don't know what's going on with Joshy. How you doing, Brent?
Good bogan, good bogan. Yes, what can we say? Usually it's Brent, usually it's Joshy, but this week it's Brent and the bogan. We'll have to call it BB on game day or something like that.
I'll have to
Yeah,
change
look,
the
he's a,
logo.
he's a busy man. Obviously, sometimes
Oh,
life
I,
happens
th-
to
I
take
think,
priority
I
over
think he's,
Supercoach.
I think he's avoiding those challenges, mate. If you're in the Brisbane area and you see a sad man in a Cronulla jersey walking around with a bucket of ice water in one hand and a bag of chili chips in the other, just check to see if he's all right.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I wouldn't deny that either. He knows what's coming, and it's classic Joshy, aka the cat food dodger, aka the raw egg. Yeah, he's got nothing.
The
So no
raw
Joshy
egg
this week.
stepper.
It, it'll be a pretty short and sweet one this week. Obviously, with no Joshy, it's going to be pretty short and sweet. We won't do probably the usual run through that we do, but we will run through some of the results from last week, the week before Origin. Obviously, with Origin on the weekend, up the Blues, big win there. And obviously, we'll probably touch on this week's rounds and maybe walk through some of the team lists and pick out some of the guys that you might be looking to pick up in preparation for next weekend's round 16 bye.
Yeah, and just on that, I did remind you to tweet out or at least let people know that there wasn't going to be a show last week, but that didn't seem to fucking happen. So sorry to anyone who was expecting to see a show last week. And yeah, if you expected us taking a week off would mean we're more prepared for this week, you're fucking wrong
Yeah,
because
fair
we're
play.
we're not prepared at all this week.
Fair play, fair call. Apologies there. Obviously, I think once it got to probably about Thursday or Friday, most of you would know. But a bit of common courtesy probably wouldn't have hurt. No reason why we couldn't. But us, we're just absolute professionals here on the show. So, and as you've alluded to, you would have thought, given the 2 week break, would be fine for this one. But as you can see, it's absolute amateur hour if it wasn't for you, Bogan. So, anyway, I think that's what God love us, but.
So
Yeah,
how'd you go a week before last?
Yeah, mate. I think for me, 10.79 might have been around par. Yeah, can't complain. For me, I guess the big saviour was I actually brought in Tommy Turbo the week before. Obviously, 167 points in his second game back. It was absolutely massive, and I was actually pretty filthy because I've been a bit dark about how I've been going in the overall with just a few trades that I've been making and with captains. So I'm in a cash comp, a head-to-head cash comp, $20 entry with a few mates, and a guy I was playing had Cookie as captain, and effectively could have guaranteed the win by setting Cookie as captain. So what I said was, bugger overall, I'm having a shocker this year, and switch me captain to Cookie, which I thought, what's the worst that could happen? And as it turned out, the worst that could happen was worse than probably most things anyone would have predicted. And I think Cookie got 55 and Turbo got 167. So I think it just sums it up for me. But yeah, he saved my week. Can't complain too much. I don't think I moved too much in the rankings. I think I might have come in about 1,000 spots or something like that. So I'm still hovering around that top 6K. Not awesome, but not too bad. But yeah, plenty of improvement to do, and just trying to get it ready for the run home now because I don't have a great deal of trades left. What about you, Bogan?
Yeah, disappointing week, but that's par for the course for the tunnel snakes. I followed the advice of one Joshua King and brought in Bronson Derry, and he scored about 6 fucking points. So it seems there's one player every week. The week before that, it was Gutho that got fucking knocked out on zero. But every week I have a player that's supposed to score big get knocked out.
Yeah, look, and it's frustrating, isn't it? I mean, I think the week before I played Gutho, when the week he got knocked out, and didn't play Jerry the week he turned up. Then I switched him this week, and I copped Jerry 6, and Gutho went okay. You got to love Supercoach, mate. That's that makes your piss burn, that sort of thing. But that's part and parcel of it. It makes the weeks when it comes off really nice, and that's the difference at the end of the day. Those subtle little things there, they can cost you, 50 or 100 points each week, but over the course of the season, it adds up, and it can be the difference between finishing the top 1,000 or the top 10,000 or the top 20,000. Really, it's quite crazy. Captain choices and just those little. When you have to go 50-50 on who to play in your 17, and it doesn't work out. And unfortunately, more often than not, it tends to just seem like it doesn't work out.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those things, isn't it? At the start of the season, I just wanted to make the top half of the comp. I don't think that's happening now. At least I can avoid the spoon. Thanks very much to Brendan's bashes and the threat. But I don't think I'll be making that top 8 for the BJ on Game Day draft league next year. So,
well, we were going to go. I think we were going to go a 10-manner, based on total points. So
yeah, obviously minus yourself and Josh, that would be a top 8 then.
Well, I guess in theory, maybe we don't even qualify for our league. I'm on the edge there at the moment, so it's actually a really solid league, Bogan. Like across the board, as I said, I'd love to have seen, if, as we said, not to have the threat and Brenda's bashes in there because, it's a crazy league. There's everyone averaging over 1,000. Most people averaging sort of 1080 plus, which is just solid. You've got the top 10, 11. Sort of top 12 guys averaging basically 1,100. It's really solid.
Well,
really
hopefully next year we can get a few more people from the BJ on Game Day group into the competition instead. Because I believe Brendan's bashes at very least was a last minute auto sub in by the website. So
I think Josh
pissed
offended someone.
Yeah,
told someone to suck someone or something like this or whatever it was.
It was he told someone to eat a dick.
Yeah, that was it. So anyway, quick shout out. We're not going to run through the league in as much detail, but I will do a quick shout out to Marty. Marty top scorer on the weekend with 12.19, and he's actually rocketed up into third place overall. And Marty's been with us since last year. He's now sitting just in the top 3,500 overall. Third on the BJ on Game Day League, so he's jumped past Sheckmate, he's jumped past Joshy. He's actually doing really well. So big shout out to Marty. Obviously, Snag's still out in front, sitting in the top 1K, and Rangas de Janeiro.
He's not that far ahead anymore, though.
No, he's only about 70 points ahead. So he's very much within striking distance there, and the round 16 bye will also be very interesting. Marty, if he's prepared well, and guys like Mana, they're all well within striking distance. So I think me and Joshy could be up for a bit of cash this year. Could be some donations going to the Men of League Foundation, but long way to go yet.
It's a good thing I'm not included in that.
We could go 3 ways if you want.
No, I think I'll pass on that, mate. I do enough unpaid work here.
But no, it's good to see. It means, as I said, the people we're sort of communicating with and that follow us are, it's nice to know that they're not complete nufties.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing perfectly fine in my public league. I'm leading that, so I think it's just the strength of the competition that's doing me in.
Yeah, it's a bit of a baptism of fire. This league's heavy.
Yeah. Oh, well, anyways, into last week's games, going in reverse order because that's the way I set up the graphics, unfortunately.
That's all right, mate.
But on the Sunday week before last, we had the Roosters give a bit of a touch up to the Bulldogs, 38-12. Manu top scored for the Roosters with 136 points. You then had Latrell on 97, who thought he would have tied himself up a Blues jersey, but that didn't seem the case. And given Turbo's performance on Sunday, probably still going to be waiting a while for that Blues jersey to come back to him.
Yeah, I think by this stage, this game was the last game of the round, and Origin sides were already done and dusted, so it didn't really matter what Latrell did. He was never going to get a jersey, as with Crichton. Obviously, Latrell just sort of showing why, in my opinion, I think obviously behind closed doors we don't know what goes on, but obviously I'd imagine it's something disciplinary related with Latrell. Obviously they're not happy with something and they've had to make the call to not pick him, just to sort of give him maybe a bit of a wake-up call, because just on raw ability, it's madness to not pick him, but he can be lazy at times, and I guess Freddie's just sort of decided at this point of his career he needs a bit of a wake-up call. Based on the performance on Sunday night, look, you can't see too many changes coming for that blue side unless there's injuries, so it looks like he's probably going to miss game 3 as well, which, I think Latrell's one of the, if not the best young player, definitely one of the best young players in the game. And
he's too good, at least, not to go into camp with him for the 3rd game.
Yeah, I think, like I said, there's obviously stuff we're not aware of it in the public, but I'm hoping he doesn't ditch the Blues jersey as a result of this.
Are you saying that because you've heard a rumour?
Oh, not at all. I mean, there was some speculation that he left after the game there. He left without permission from officials to go to Taree. He left without the team. He left early. There was also some discussion. So he's, team protocols.
I heard that Freddie tore strips off him after the game.
Yeah, and then there's those sorts of things as well. So, I mean, as I said, you don't know. We just don't know. We don't get to see it. But
it's fun to speculate.
It is, and I mean, you got to put it into perspective. He's a young fella. He's 21 years old. He won a premiership last year. He won Origin last year. He was probably one of the best players in the world, sort of the end of last year, at least definitely the best centre in the world with Joey Manu. There's going to be ups and downs as a young fella. I think his mum came out and said they had a few family members pass. So I think it's all just part of that learning journey for him. I hope he doesn't now turn his back on the Blues jersey as a result, and he comes back bigger and better for it, because that'd be a shame. Because
there has been talk of that, of him hanging up the Origin boots, which would be a damn shame, because he's basically New South Wales bloody English.
Yeah, mate. And he's absolutely devastating. I think Will Chambers would have been counting his blessings when he realised Mitchell wasn't named. Obviously, Whiten did a stand-up job out on that left edge, but I couldn't believe it personally. But, yeah, as I said, there's a bit more probably to it. But in this one, the Roosters absolutely ran right, as you expect. Jay Manu showing he did a great job filling in at fullback for the Roosters, and the floodgates at half-time. I think Kieran Foran nearly went over just before half-time, which would have made the score sort of around 18-10, 18-12. But, yeah, after the second half, the Roosters just opened the floodgates, and it was just an absolute pizzling. So, yeah, some big points in that one.
Yeah, more pain for Dean Pay. So.
Absolutely.
Next up, it would have been on the Sunday afternoon, I'm guessing, was the Sea Eagles up against the Dragons. The Sea Eagles getting up there 34 points to 14. This was the big performance from Turbo that he said, 167 points. So you'd be cheering if you had him. You'd be double cheering if he was your captain. So, yeah.
And you'd be half spewing if you had him, but you had him as captain and then swapped it like me. It's bittersweet.
Yeah,
mate.
Joshy's pod pick of 8, Ken, scoring 82 points. So people who listened to Mr. King would have been cheering on that one as well.
I think I actually looked at his team. I don't think he played him either, believe it or not. Don't quote me on that, but I think I remember having a giggle about that because he didn't actually play him. But, yeah, absolutely. I think, obviously, you've been living under a rock if you didn't hear what Tommy Turbo did a couple of weeks ago. What was quite interesting about that one was that he had 130 break even or something like that. And there was a lot of people hoping he would just sort of stayed a little bit quiet. Even if he just pumped out a 60 or a 70, he would have been dropping.
Pick him up in 17.
Dropped a nice little bit of cash and would have been looking really good for 17. As it turns out, he's banged that break even out of the water. He's now over 700k with a 30 break even. So, and he's now awkward to pick up. I mean, this is the round now where you get the 5 trades, and ideally this is the best time you're going to have to be able to work him in, because he's only probably going to go up. They play the Titans this week, so there's every chance assuming he backs up, that he could put on another big score.
Do you think it
But
would
they
be?
all,
Do you think it would be smart of Manly to play him this week, considering like he's not that far back from injury, and he was only back for one game before that hammy.
Yeah, look, I think I totally agree. They don't want to rush him, but I think they're a bit more cautious with the return of him. I don't think they would have let him play Origin, but it's a fair call. In terms of the ladder, I don't know how desperate they are for wins. They're sitting in about sixth place, but it's a bit of a logjam.
I just think if I was old Des, I'd be willing to back myself that Manly'd be able to get up over the Titans without him.
Look, they are a different side without him. The only reason why I think they might leave it is because there is a bit of a break between, with Origin being on the rep round, they do get a few extra days off. So I guess they'll just sort of wait up with the recovery. But everything I heard, he came out unscathed. He did only play centre whilst he had a huge game. He wasn't doing as much running around the park as he would playing in the one. But wait and see. Fair call. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, just as you alluded to with the injury with the Hemi. But there's a bit of a logjam from fifth place with Newcastle down to 14th. There's only 2 wins between 5th to 14th. So you don't want to be dropping games like this against the Titans. There's a real opportune time for them at the moment. So we'll see what happens there.
All right, before that was Parramatta gave touch up to the Broncos, 38-10.
How good.
Junior Paolo hitting a bit of form there, with 81 for the Eels and 89 for Gillette for the Broncos. So Supercoach scores would seem to indicate this game was a lot closer than the score does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think probably I didn't actually get to watch this game over the weekend, but nothing like watching the Brisbane get touched up. That's always nice. Bankwest Stadium, once again, they're sort of proving that is sort of turning out to be a bit of a fortress for them. Quite interesting. So, the Para starting to build some force when they're playing out of that stadium. Obviously, I think they lost to Canberra there, though, to 0. Was it? Oh, that was the Tigers that lost there to them, sorry.
They lost to Manly, didn't they?
Yeah, they did cop one loss there, but generally, though, they've done really well there. I think that's their only loss. Brisbane, I do not know what's going on there. Payne Haas, obviously a shining light. They've got, on paper, one of the best young forward packs in the comp. They got Anthony Milford. I know they just lost Jimmy Roberts, but they got Corey Oates. On paper, I have no idea what's going on. Anthony Seibold's inherited an absolute mess, and it's a lot of pressure on Brisbane at the moment. They sort of can't afford to drop too many more games. They lost to the Titans last week, and they've got this. They play Newcastle this weekend, so another big test for them.
How's Huss looking for this week, considering he's returning from injury?
Yeah, look, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not across exactly what the injury was. As he's mentioned, he has been named. I have got some info in front of me here, which is telling me not much about him being named back in the squad. So I'm assuming he'll be sweet to go. He's been named to start in the prop jersey. So, I mean, keep an eye on those team lists. I thought he would be out for a little bit longer, but from all reports, it looks like he's back. So that's good news for super coaches.
Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. Do we have to talk about this one? Rabbitohs went down to the Panthers 18 points to 19, with the Panthers probably putting in one of their better performances of the season with this one. And South putting in one of their shitter performances of the season.
Yeah, I guess from just going off the back of my top of my head, they tend to struggle with Penrith the last few times we've played them, Old Souths. So yeah, obviously Penrith are in a bit of a lull there in terms of form, and South's absolutely flying. I still would have rated them to absolutely thump Penrith, but they haven't. It ended up, I think they were down 18-6 or something like that. Ended up bringing it back, and then obviously a field goal to Jimmy Maloney, I think it was, to seal the game. So again, I didn't catch this game, and I can't even recall now that it was a couple of weeks ago, but not a great deal to raise Supercoach score-wise. Obviously, Brian Two, the wingers, had a good game there. Cleary had a good game. Kickhouse, ever since I traded him, I think he's killed it. Liam Knight for South has had a barnstormer there, top score for South. He's been named to start at prop again this week. So Jimmy Roberts is producing some good output in that South jersey at the moment.
It seems to have settled in well, Jimmy Roberts.
I really do think that despite this, it's probably a good loss for them. They still nearly got away with it, but good to have a loss just to keep them grounded, make sure they don't lose sight of what they're doing. My tip at this point is the South to win the comp.
And uncharacteristic performance by Cookie too, with a score of 55 there. Usually he's hitting the 70s without question.
I didn't actually take a close look at his Supercoach score. My understanding was he had a couple of tries this. I'm not sure if he actually got awarded them Supercoach-wise, but the app that I use, it gives me a bit of a proxy measure. I just use League Live, have a quick look at stats at times, and they do have a try assist stat, which, obviously it's not the same as what Supercoach scorers give, but it gives you a bit of an indication. They had him down for 2 try assists, so I don't know if he actually got credited with them. I didn't look. I tend to just take what the Supercoach scorers score them, as everyone does, but I don't tend to question it too much. It's inconsistent as bloody anything anyway. So, yeah, not sure what happened there. I think generally, if that's a bad score for Cookie, it's you can't say too much. 55's still not bad, but you just sort of tend to start to expect the 70, 80s out of him because he does it so often. But he is Supercoach royalty, this bloke. So when he does pump out the 50, you sort of think, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, here we go. So we both felt the pain a couple of weeks ago. The Storm getting up 34 points to 4 over the Knights. Cameron Munster top scoring for the Storm with 91 points, which is just fantastic because I traded him out. There you go.
Yeah, I did watch this one. That one stings a bit, mate. I think it was pretty much the first half that did it for us. Too much drop ball, too many penalties. Any opportunities we had down there, and we dropped it. We didn't put enough pressure on them. I think at halftime we might have been down like 18-6 or 12-6 or something like that. We were still, on paper in it, but they scored pretty quickly after halftime. Edric Lee then went on to get binned, and then they started to pile the points on. I think that's absolutely destroyed our 6-game
I was
winning
streak.
Say
the streak is over.
Abruptly ends the streak, but that's it just goes to show we're still, whilst we've put in some good performances, we're still a little bit off the mark. Still got some things we need to work on. Melbourne, obviously really good. Cam Munster showed that. Big Nelson was obviously pretty big. Jerome Hughes had another really good game, so he's going well. For our boys, I think Watson's been a shining light since he's been named at hooker. He's been starting to get some good minutes as well, and he looks really good. Gives us a really good zip out of there, and KP in a team that only scores 4 points still manages to score 60. So
I think he'll turn. I haven't even looked at who the Knights are playing this week. I think KP will turn it on this week, though. Even backing up from Origin.
Yeah, look. To be honest, did he play Origin because he was virtually unsighted apart from catching high balls. It just goes to show, whilst he is an absolute freak of a natural talent, he's still got a fair way to go in terms of being able to inject himself in the game. I know, it's hard for backs if their forwards aren't going forward and laying the platform, but guys like Billy Slater and Cooper Cronk and Jonathan Thurston, even Cameron Smith, they could turn a game if they needed to. I know it's a little bit different at the back there, but positionally wise, it was pouring down rain as well. We can't be too harsh, but I think, whilst he's got, undoubtedly got that unbelievable natural ability, he's still got a ways to go. And I think on Sunday night sort of showed that as well. So I expect him to play, but he did. I think he came out of it with a bit of a niggle. So just watch team list for that one. So be careful because I don't think he's a guarantee to back
Okay, fair
enough. So just watch team list. They play Brisbane on 5:30 on Saturday.
Okay. Oh, another close one. This was Golden Point, I believe. The Tigers getting up over the Cowboys, 26 points to 27. So high scoring, close game. Morgan top scoring top scoring out of everyone with 93 points, and I'm not Noah Faluma. I'm terrible with the Islander names. Top scored with Tigers with 76. So Tigers would be pretty happy they got away with this one.
Yeah, you did well on Noah Faluma there. I just call him Nofo basically because buggers how you say an O and an A and an L and a U and a whatever else is in that. So he done well. Yeah, obviously Michael Morgan was big for the Cows. Had he not been playing Origin, I think I had him on the radar. He was pretty cheap, and everything from the Cowboys goes through either Lolo or Morgan. Most of their attacking plays is just off the back of Morgan. And yeah, I think the Tigers got away to a flyer in this one. They scored some quick tries early, and then Cowboys brought it back, and then a Benji Marshall field goal ended up sealing the deal. So a really good contest. This one I think was was it the Friday night game or something like that? I can't recall exactly, but I did watch a little bit of it, and it was quite an entertaining game.
Second Friday night game, I believe.
Yeah, so it was the game on 9 on the Friday night, and yeah, it was quite entertaining. Obviously, Madison, I think, is now after that Origin performance from that team on Sunday, it doesn't look like there'll be a great deal of changes apart from injuries, which clearly was injured. But based on that, I'm not sure Madison will get a run. If that's the case, he's probably not almost, but close to must-have for the run home. He is not cheap, but another really solid performance from him as well.
So the first Friday night game, the Warriors got up over the Titans 24 points to 20. Kenny Mamalo, ever since Joshy called him, what do you call him, rocks or diamonds, Mamalo? Ever since he's fucking said that, he's been diamonds every week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's just the thing with these Warriors wingers. I think in the past, David Foots too has been one when SJ was at him, he'd score 121 week and then 17 the next. But definitely Kenny Mamalo is one of those guys. But yeah, at the moment he's flying, isn't he?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I didn't see all of this game, so I can't recall exactly what happened, but a lot of high scores in there, a few 80s from some Titans players. Obviously, Shecky and Marmelo went off in that one, so good stuff there for Sheck owners. A bit of a Cardi
party there, or?
Yeah, Cardi was bouncing back there, so I know he had a lot of doubters last year. He sort of came back into the frame and didn't do anything, but this year those that stayed loyal and faithful to the Cardi party have been somewhat rewarded. He's now sitting above 400k and got a 40 break even, so he could be nice and ripe for a trade in preparation for round 16 now, and he's done his job as a bit of a cow. Now that Arrow's out, he has been named to start again, so there's an argument to be made you could hold him for one more week.
How long is Arrow out for?
My understanding is it's like a 6 to 10 weeker. So
I think I traded him. I'd have to check.
Yeah, I've got him, and he'll be traded out for me this week. I can't sit on him when I had guys like Burgess, Arrow, Cleary's now injured. So I think for me there has to be someone that goes, and it'll be Arrow and Burgess. But yeah, so Cardi you could argue might be a hold for another week, but I think I'll be looking to get rid of him this week as well.
And on Thursday, the Raiders very, very lucky to get up over the Sharks, 22 points to 20. I actually watched this game. It's fucking freezing cold in Canberra on that night. Yeah.
Were you there?
No, I didn't go to the game. No.
Yeah, I worked it. It was very cold.
Yeah. But Raiders got off to a hot start. And the Sharks had the momentum in the second half and nearly got back on them. But fortunate there to get up by 2 points and get the 2 points.
Yeah, I said I worked at that game. Canberra started awesome. I think Croker crossed the line early, broke. I think he's now leading all-time try scorer for the Raiders with that one.
Really?
He sits equal. Yeah, he's equaled. I think it was Jason Croker's record of 120 or something. Don't quote me on that, but I'm fairly confident
That's a
was.
surprise because Raiders have had some fucking gun try scorers over the years with blokes like Brett Mullins and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I actually Croker's the same age as me. I used to play against him when I was a young fella. He played for Goldman Stockman, so obviously knowing who he was, took a bit of notice once he debuted. Same with Joshy Dugan, all that same age group, same scene in Canberra there. Croker debuted when he turned 18 for the Raiders, and has pretty much held his spot since. He wasn't like Dugan where he dropped in and out a couple times. Croker got his debut and has kept it. As a result, so when I'm about 28 years old, he's the same age. So he's played 10 years of footy now, and he's probably got, barring injury, he's still got at least a good, 5 years left in him at least, you'd have to say, at least 4 or 5 years. And I think he could be set to break every record in the book, point scoring wise, and not just for the Raiders, but even in the competition. Because, he is still relatively young for some of the achievements he's got, and he's still got plenty of footy left in him. So, yeah. But a good game. I think I watched the end of it. I don't get to watch all of them with the work that I do there, but I did get to watch the end of it. And the Sharks had a good opportunity late. They got a penalty in the last sort of set of 6, and they had a good dip. They almost went in. It was a Jared Croker intercept that saved the day for the Raiders there. But, yeah, it was a good contest, and there was a bit riding on that one, a bit of talk about teams trying to Sharks crack into the top 4, Raiders and managed to hold on to it. But, really good win for the Raiders there. And Jackie Whiten top scored 88. Joshy Dugan's top scored of 76. And, just a good game of footy.
Well, on to this week's fixtures. Hopefully you can see them. So we'll be starting on Thursday with the West Tigers versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs at Bankwest Stadium. What do you think of that one? Probably should be pretty easy for the Rabbitohs to get up if things go to plan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming all the Origin blokes will back up. The only one they'll have missing now, realistically, is Sammy Burgess, who's still probably a couple of weeks away after recovering from surgery. Braden Burns returns at centre. He was absolutely awesome for the Rabbits earlier on in the year, so I think he'll be a welcome addition back into the side at centre there. Adam Reynolds returns, so he was out for a little while. Alex Johnson's back at fullback. I think Cody Walker will be pretty keen to get back into the club footy with all the Origin stuff that's been going on. I think, there's a bit of talk now that Wade Graham might be named in the halves. I mean, who knows? But from what I can gather, it doesn't look like Walker's going to get the call up. On the Tigers side of the fence, I still think on paper they got one of the best sort of 1 through to 5s. They're just big, quick guys. They've got Corey Thompson at the back, Robert Jennings, Moses Mbai, Hassan Masters, and Noel Faluma. So, they're really good outside backs, but they've just been so hot and cold this year. I expect South should win. It is at Bankwest Stadium, it doesn't really give too much of an advantage to the Tigers, I don't think.
No, not at all.
But the Tigers, just as I said, they've tended to be able to show up some weeks, but they just don't have the 80 minutes in them. So, if Cookie plays, I think he probably might end up running a bit right there.
I'm sure the Rabbitohs are going to be pretty keen to re-establish that dominance that they had early on in the season as well, after a few rough weeks.
Yeah, and I think it's a good opportunity with Storm taking on the Roosters this weekend. If the Roosters can get a win over the Storm, at the moment you've got the Rabbits and the Roosters sitting on 20 points, Storm's on 24 points. If the Roosters can manage to get over the Storm, that's really important for the Rabbits to get the win this weekend to try and still keep in touch with that minor premiership chance. So,
yeah. So first game on the Friday, we got St George up against the Cowboys. Is there anything going on with the Cowboys? Because I noticed that they're paying $2.80 from the figures that we've pulled from the internet. It seems like they're fairly good odds for the Cowboys if they're fit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if it was up home, maybe if it was up in North Queensland, it probably wouldn't be paying the same. They haven't been awesome, but they haven't been terrible. I mean, they gave the Storm a good shake-up earlier in the year as well. So a big sort of in for the Cowboys is they've signed Scott Drinkwater. So he's a young fullback that was at the Storm, and he's been transferred over to the Cowboys effective immediately. So he was actually looking like at the start of the year getting the starting spot for the Storm at the back, if you believed what you read. He got a pec injury in a trial and then ended up missing, he ended up being out for 12 weeks, but he's now obviously back.
Yeah, Jerome Hughes has pretty much tattooed his name on that spot now, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got Pappenheisen there as well, who looks like he's, nearly a Slater 2.0 in some ways. Like he's a little pocket rocket.
Spoilt for choice there at the Storm.
Yeah, so Drinkwater's obviously departed to get an opportunity to play some first grade and maybe, take ownership of that number 1 jersey at the back there for the Cows. So I'll be interested to see how he goes. I think those odds are quite juicy, especially, St. George absolutely got hammered last week against the Eagles. So on paper, the Dragons are still reasonably solid, but on paper and how they're actually going are two different things. So, I think it's a fair call. I'm not entirely sure why the Cows are so long odds, but I think it could be closer than what the odds suggest, but I think maybe still the Dragons sneak home in this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Cows were to do them.
Second game on the Friday, game of the round, no doubt. The Roosters versus the Storm. And the odds of those are very close. $1.98 to $1.91. The Storm are slight favourites. Probably the punters betting on a few fatigued Origin players there at the Roosters.
Yeah, and I think Drew Hutchinson's been named at 6 for the Chooks, so still no Keary there. That one gives them a slight edge, and one of the key playmakers out for the Chooks. Match up like this, that sort of thing is important. Obviously, with depending on the Origin players that back up as well. But you've also, equally as important, you've got all the guys backing up for the Storm, that like the Bromwich brothers and Asafa Solomona, who played in the tests over the weekend. It was rep round, so there's plenty of guys backing up. Anything could happen between now and then, but it should be an absolute cracker on Friday night, the prime time slot.
Going back to what we were saying before, if you're Latrell Mitchell, are you fired up for this one? Big game against one of the form teams of the past 15 years. Are you looking to prove yourself? Are you looking to prove to your doubters that you've got that big game stuff?
I think, they played earlier in the year, and I think the Chooks won 21-20, and Latrell kicked that monster field goal from 40 out or whatever it was. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. Obviously, this will be the first game since he officially hasn't been named. So I just think he's the kind of guy, he doesn't really need to try too hard. It's just he needs to be involved. So, what I mean by that is, he's the sort of guy, you just give him the ball. You don't have to run fancy plays off him and all that sort of. Just give him the ball and give him the ball early and just let him do what he does. I guess there's just some issues around. He doesn't come looking for the ball enough, but it is going to be interesting to see how he bounces back. I don't know, but if the Chooks are going to win this game, he's the kind of bloke that can, if he decides he wants to inject himself, he can make a big difference on the game, even at centre. So,
So you don't think he's going to be emotionally motivated at all?
I think he's always got a bit of mungle and niggle in him. Every game I watch him, he's always there's always some sort of niggle he's involved in. I think that's just how he is. I don't think he's going to be overly. I don't think he's going to be over enthusiastic or anything different. I just think the type of player he is. Just, as I said, he's just always got some niggle and pushing people's heads into the ground. That's just the type of player he is. And I think Yeah, he doesn't need to. I think he's just naturally that good that if he just gets involved enough, the rest sorts itself out for him.
All right, fair. First game on Super Saturday, we'll see the Gold Coast Titans up against the Manly Sea Eagles. Manly very short price favourites in this one, and it's hard to argue with the bookies on it. On this one, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think on paper again, especially after last week with the Seals smashing the Dragons, it's hard to look past the Eagles. Obviously, Cherry Evans is back now, fighting fit. Tommy Turbo's back. You got Jakey Turbo back. They're starting to look pretty formidable on paper. You got Fanu starting at hooker, but don't underestimate the Titans. Joshy's always been a big advocate of them. They always put in a good contest generally.
I've always fucking hated them. Titans get fucked.
Yeah, I know you don't have the soft spot for them whatsoever, but yeah, I think definitely expecting the Eagles to get up in this one, but beware of the Titans. Beware of the Titans. That's all I'll say.
The second game, Super Saturday, has the Knights favourites over the Broncos.
Yeah, look, mate. As I said, on paper, you look at the Broncos forward pack and you just wonder how they're going so bad. I think it's only a matter of time until they bounce back. I'm hoping it's not this week. For us, obviously big loss to Melbourne a couple of weeks ago.
Be very keen to get that train back on the rails, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just how tight the competition is, it's a really important game. If we had to win this game, we go 3 wins clear of Brisbane. So if they would win this game, they go 1 point behind us. So that'd be nice. And obviously, playing Brisbane, it's always nice to get a win over Brisbane, but I'm definitely not, assuming we're going to get the job done here. I'm expecting a tough game. I'm hoping Ponga backs up. There's a chance Clemmer might actually be a late inclusion, which would be awesome, which we could really use against this forward pack of Brisbane. But yeah, I'm just really wondering what the hell's going on at Brisbane at the moment because, it's not very Brisbane-like.
There seems to be something going on in the back room there, that's for sure.
Yeah, and obviously with the change of coaches this year, who knows what's going on there. It hasn't had that effect on South. But
Seabold's a very good coach, so I don't know if you can blame the coaching.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk going on around what it could be. There's a lot of people that don't think Andrew McCulloch should be the hooker. Yeah, they're obviously tinkering around with the 7 jersey there. They had a young fella, I think Darius Boyd. He's just owns that number 1 jersey, but it's probably not justified at the moment. He's in terrible form. I would love to see someone like maybe Jimmy Roberts get thrown back there, but surely they've just, especially the fullback jersey, in this day and age, your fullback's such an important position. I just think
it's almost like a pseudo half now.
Yeah, and he's not in his prime anymore. Can he move somewhere else? I don't know. Can he go to centre and give? Surely Brisbane, they own 6 billion juniors. They have someone on the back burner that can play. I personally think Anthony Milford should be fullback, to be honest, and you can sort something else in the halves. But anyway, don't really care. I hope they don't go well for another week at least, because I'd love for us to get. This is one on the calendar. Yeah, I'd really like to win as a Knights fan.
All right, and the third game on Super Saturday sees Parramatta up against the Raiders, which is probably the second best game of the round. Parramatta there's at 2.15. I think they're actually pretty decent. That's a pretty decent price for the Parramatta versus the Raiders. I think it'll be closer than that.
Yeah, I think this one's actually up in Darwin as well. This game's on the road, so
I was wondering why it's at TIO Stadium. I haven't heard of that before.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident it's up in Darwin. I think last time they played, Raiders got them 19-0. So I'm pretty sure the Para will be pretty keen to bounce back. I actually rate Para pretty highly. I think
on paper, I think on paper, most years though, on paper, Parramatta is one of the best sides in the comp. But
And I think Brad Arthur must be a really good coach. I mean, I don't really know how the world of coaching works and all that stuff behind the scenes whatsoever, but he just seems to get good responses out of his, on paper a couple of years ago, he had this same team and wasn't really expected to do anything, and they finished top 4. They've had a few lulls this season, but I just think they're really, when they get going, they'll give a few teams some headaches. So this should be a cracker. Dylan Brown's been named to start back at 6, so he was one of the rookie halves a lot of people started the year with. So if you held him, he's been named to start, which is good. And another big one, they've now got Nathan Brown back, their lock, who burnt a few people earlier in the year that started with him or traded low to him or whatever happened there.
including myself.
But he's back, and he adds a lot for them in the middle. So a couple big inclusions there for those guys. And I think you're right. I think this is definitely going to be up there with one of the games of the round. It's going to be interesting. I think the Raiders are pretty much full strength except for no Kotrick in the outside backs. So should be a good game, that one.
Sunday, we've got the New Zealand Warriors short price favourites up against the Penrith Panthers over there at Mount Smart Stadium. Though that being said, I've heard that Cleary is clear to play this week, so don't be surprised if those odds get a little bit closer as we get closer to game day.
I have no idea where you've heard that for, because my understanding is Cleary's been ruled out for at least a month. Yeah,
that was on NRL this afternoon.
Yeah,
NRL.com.
my understanding, I could be wrong.
I can
my
double check that
understanding
for you right now.
He could be ankle syndesmosis, possibly 4 to 8 weeks, depending on the severity. And he hasn't been cited in their 21-man squad, so he won't play this weekend at least.
Oh, well, that explains that. But I'll just find that news from...
Yeah, you're right. Have a look. This one, take a ticket in the raffle. I think maybe with Cleary out, it gives the Warriors a bit of an edge. So, I think over there as well, tip the Warriors to get up. But it could be a close game, but I think maybe without Cleary there... I think Jerome Luai is one of the best young up-and-coming players in the comp as well. He's really exciting, but maybe they might struggle a little bit. Tohu Harris is actually out for about 6 weeks from the Warriors, so that's a big out. No Isaac Luke as well. So, it could be an interesting one, depending on what happens, if the Panthers can start well.
NRL.com's fucked me over because they reported that he was clear, and now they've reported that he's not, but they're confident he'll be ready for Origin 3. So
yep, there you go. So I'm tipping Warriors in that one, but wouldn't be surprised if...
That being said, you could almost pick the Warriors every week. They've got a fantastic team, but it's just whether they perform.
Yeah, I think the most important rule you can have is don't tip the Warriors ever, because you just can't. You couldn't bank on them whatsoever.
Well, one team you can probably pick this week will be the Sharks over the Bulldogs at ANZ Stadium. Sharks paying $1.35, the Bulldogs paying $3.40, and you know what? They're probably fitting odds for that game, because I think the Sharks are going to towel up the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think as well. I think the Dogs are going to get the spoon this year if they haven't already got one hand on it.
It's going to be a battle between them and the Titans by the looks of things.
I just think the Dogs just not showing me anything. And Kieran Foran's trying hit it hard in a losing team. Tolman's been a bit of a hero there for him in the middle. Same with Josh Jackson, but also Dean Pay's just smoking the wacky tobacco with some of the things he's been deciding to do with the side. It's just beyond me. I think I've got no idea what's going through that bloke's brain.
When does it get to the point where the Bulldogs have to look at who is in that coaching position?
I think because he inherited the team, they give him at least another year. But next year, if the same thing start, the first 2 months of the footy, if they haven't had a win or they've only got 1 or 2 wins, he his head could be on the chopping block, which then just puts him in the same situation they're in.
Which would be a
now,
shame,
effectively,
because he'd be good value to any coaching staff. I just don't. I don't think he's showing that he's too good as a head coach.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't really understand the whole coaching world that seems to exist with why some people are good and why some of the others aren't. I guess it's around being a people manager as well. Like, how do you interact with your players and influence them and motivate them and all that sort of stuff, I assume. But who knows? I've got no idea, but I don't see the Dogs winning this one. And I really think the Sharks are, believe it or not, going under the radar this year. Everyone's talking about the Storm or the Rabbits or the Roosters or the Raiders or the Knights, but I think the Sharks are the big smoky that they're just going to keep ticking along. They've had a lot of injuries in the last couple of months. They're starting to get back to full strength. So Matty Moylan's back. Obviously, Jerry's now established himself in the side.
Oh, with his big 6 points.
Yeah, we'll get over that. You'll be right, mate. Sean Johnson, obviously back. He had a great test over the weekend. Joshy Dugan's there. They're missing Fafita, but this Brandon Hamlin-Uele, he's the poor man's Fafita. He just looks like his long-lost cousin to me. Wade Graham back. Britton Nakor is flying. I see this side is, believe it or not, very much flying under the radar at the moment, and I expect that they'll be there towards the back end of September as well. So that's it for the wraps. So obviously, if you want to see not much action on Twitter, get behind us at BJ on GameDay. We've also got a Facebook group, BJ on GameDay. Joshy runs that one. And don't forget, for anyone out there that hasn't already joined the Supercoach group, we've got the Supercoach groups. So jump onto your groups page. Feel free to join this group at any stage of the season. It's the code is there, 701371. So jump in there. I think generally we'll do a shout out to the top scoring team from the group as well. And yeah, love to see.
It was Manor in that as well this week. So
Mana, was it? Yeah. Marty, was it? Yeah, so as many people as we can get there is really good as well. Is that all we had planned, Bogan?
Pretty much.
I think I'm just going to quickly run through some potential buys coming into the buy round. So just looking at team, I've got team lists in front of me. I'll do a quick rinse through. Obviously, 5 trades this week, exciting stuff. Bit of a chance to overhaul your team or get rid of some dead weight that you've been holding on just because you kept them for the round 12 buy. So I think some guys on the radar for me, not giving away what my trades will be this week. Anyone from any of the sides that will be playing. So from the Tigers, you could be looking at Asan Masters, who's very cheap this week. You're picking him on past performance off his name, which had burnt me earlier in the year with a couple of guys like Crichton and Kikau up until a couple of weeks ago. But he's really cheap and a good option potentially for round 16, goal-kicking centre. Robbie Farah at hooker, if you haven't already got 2 established hookers in there, but be mindful of Jacob Little off the bench, so it might be a bit of a dangerous buy, that one. Obviously, Madison is not a must-have, but very close to it if he doesn't get a call in for Origin. I think Alex Twile as well. He's a little bit underpriced at the moment. Averages around that high 50s, close to 60s sort of mark. And he's only priced around 460k. I've had a good look at him. So he's another one that you could look at. Just scrolling through here. Laffey's back. Aitken, obviously another one. Joshy's, a few people got him a few weeks ago pretty cheap. I think he maybe have gone up about 100,000 since then. But I think a couple of guys there you could potentially look at if the price is right. Cam McInnes at hooker. Obviously last week got a bit of an unfortunate one for those that had him. He actually got knocked out with HIA and didn't get to return to the game, so didn't score many points. So he might have some high break-evens in front of him, but he's a potential pickup. Just working through the team list that we've got here. So the Storm will play round 16, so obviously Cam Smith's got to be someone that's on the radar. Depending on who you're looking at, you got guys like Jesse Bromwich, Jerome Hughes, Potentially Vunivalu if you're looking for a bit of a pod. Kenny Bromwich. That's probably another one that we haven't mentioned him throughout the year, but if you go back and have a look at his scores, he's been arguably one of the best, not best, dare I say best, but he's been a really solid back rower this year. His scores in the last month hasn't been awesome, but if you go back and have a look at his scores throughout the first, 10 weeks sort of thing, he was awesome. Plays big minutes generally. Base is pretty good and does have the odd attacking stat in him, whether it's not necessarily a try, but involvement in some sort of scoring play. So he could be someone that at the moment he's on the bit of a downer price wise. So he's priced at about $500K and has a 90 break even. But at one point there he was close to 600,000, and he only started the year at 370. So he's another potential one you could look at for a bit of a pod potentially. Moving down, we will not have any Titans. We will not have any Eagles. Brisbane will play the bye. Newcastle will play that as well. So you've potentially got some guys there. I think maybe Tavita Pangai Jr. is priced around that 450K mark this week. So he's a guy you could look at. They'll have, they'll be missing Gillette and Fafita and potentially Haas maybe in Origin. So I expect him, whilst his minutes haven't been awesome of late, he could be someone that you might be looking at as a bit of a pod to get you through that round 16 period and then reassess post that. Connor Watson, as long as he's being named to play 9, and we aren't really no sight of Danny Levi at the moment. I know we've got Jamie Buhrer off the bench, but Watson's been playing some really decent minutes, so he's a possible option there. Anthony Milford for Brisbane, maybe Mitchell Pearce for us potentially if you're looking at a bit of pod in the halves there. Otherwise, you're probably taking a punt. Anyone else in those teams, maybe Katoni Staggs. A lot of people have got him. I already do because he was cheap and dual. Jesse Ramian. Probably they'd be the main ones I'd mention from there. Para won't play. The Raiders won't play. The Warriors will play. So you got obviously Sheck will be a really big one. Now that I've got Turbo and Teddy, I won't have him, so he's going to be a massive pod next week to me, which I'm really not going to like. Some other pod buys, you could be looking at someone like a Marmalade, believe it or not. He's probably pretty expensive at the moment because of his form. Cody Nikorima as well could be a little bit of a pod option, believe it or not. These are guys that can just blow up if you pick them at the right time and just get some bit of luck on your side. They can go big. You might look at an Asai Papali who's playing some big minutes. And Cronulla will also play that buy round as well. So I think SJ is almost a must. Interesting one with SJ. He's priced at like that high 400s, mid to high 400s this week. He's got 120 or 130 break even. So, you could wait a week on him, but I think against the Dogs, there's every chance now that they're looking a bit more full strength that right edge could be really dangerous again for the Sharks. Hopefully his hemi pulls up. He had a really good test against Tonga. Was very involved, had a blinder of a game. So if he's got a bit of confidence back, he's going to be really dangerous. I'm probably going to pick him up this week, even though he's got the high break even. Other guys I'm looking at, like Josh Dugan is another one. Obviously Bronson Jerry, Matt Moylan, Britton Nakora, people that you should probably still have these guys. Maybe you could be looking at a Paul Gallen, someone like that. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. I think I hit
pretty much
most.
Every player.
Yeah. Look, just trying to get. So I think I don't know if I touched on the Roosters. The Roosters will play there, so you got some options. I think now Latrell's doesn't look like he's going to play Origin.
If you've got Latrell, you're cheering because he's going to be playing 16, and it looks like he's not going to get picked for Origin. So
yeah, so you might need to work him in because he could be a big pod. You maybe Crichton is someone you're looking at. I traded him a couple of weeks ago, which now I wish I sort of held him. I just didn't think he was going to lose the spot, but he hasn't done really anything, to be fair, to hold it. But he hasn't been awesome this year. He's not been the Crichton that I expected. There's actually rumours of him, leaving the Chooks back to South potentially, depending on what you believe. But he's just not. He's just not done anything for me for the last month and a bit. He's just cracking 50, but anyway. So look, plenty of options out there. Obviously, got the 5 trades this week, and you have another 2 leading into the bye next week. So use them wisely. I think the way I'm shaping up, I'll probably only have like 10 to 12 players for round 16, which I'm just giving up on the buys after what happened in round 12. So I think I might be even using one of my trades this week to bring John Bateman back in, who won't even play round 16, which is fine because I'm just starting to get my team ready for the run home. So have a look. Some big ground that can be made. Bogan, any thoughts on trades? Anything that's you're sure that you're going to be doing this week, mate?
I think you've covered every player on the planet that's playing.
Oh, look, mate. The relevant ones. Come on. Got to give the people something. I'm sure I haven't mentioned a few in there just because I've got my eyes on some sneaky pods I don't want people to pick up. Maybe not. I was really considering Dugan, actually. Anyway. Matty Moylan, guys like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Bogan, thanks for joining me, mate. Joshy, you're weak. You're soft.
Yeah,
Hopefully we'll see you next week.
He will not escape the ice.
We might.
I don't even know how you went with the fortune teller last week. I'm going to have to watch the last episode to see what Joshy picked.
Yeah, look, I was hoping you wouldn't raise that because I'm actually up for the ice bucket. So that'll be me next week.
Oh, hopefully.
Copping the ice bucket. And he'll be in the chilies.
The chili chips, the hardcore chili chips that we've heard so much about.
Yeah, so I think
these better not be like fucking bullshit, like chili kettle chips or some shit.
Nah, man. If these are the chips that I had half of one when I was out one night, and
I reckon
I had to go to the bar where we were at this establishment and ask if they could pour me a glass of milk because I was done.
Oh, well,
and
then
I had half of one.
I think he needs to do a handful, like the Cookie Monster. Just shove them straight in there.
If he's not allowed to have milk, he's in big trouble. And I said he's not allowed to have milk. So I can guarantee he's going to be in a bit of strife. But who knows?
Anyways, the guys will be back minus me. I'll be back in the background next week, and we'll have a more smoothly produced regular episode with the updates on the leagues and everything. But so thanks for joining us this week.
Cheers, Bogan. All the best, everyone.